What's going on, everybody? We're going to switch up the pace today a little bit. We are going to be switching up from from streamer tying, and you may have guessed it, I misspoke. We're going to be tying nymph today. So what we got on is actually a Umpqua hook. Let's see, it's a JB01 size 10. And already on there, just for the sake of speed, we have a Nymph Head Evolution Caddis head, size small, from Flyman Fishing Company. And this is going to be kind of a classic hare's ear, except more geared towards caddis. I know your classic hare's ears can be a lot of things, but with the caddis head, we're kind of limiting our options a little bit. So anyway, we slid the head on already. What if I could stop fraying my line already? We are on 6/0 wide unithread in dark brown. So we're gonna fix the mess I've already made up here. Good gravy. Anyways, that's mostly fixed. We're going to start out with some pheasant tail for our actual tail. I don't know if I'm actually following the exact recipe here for a hare's ear. We're going to just put that out there now. I've got room for artistic liberty, if you will. I wouldn't call it very artistic, though, considering all things. We're going to measure this. We want this to be about half a shank length. As you can see, it's kind of difficult because the hook is a little bent. So I'm just going to get these guys ready to go. There we go. Give it a couple nice tight wraps. It's real interesting switching from a 100-strand GSP to this stuff. If you guys know what I mean. I'm used to cranking down real hard on my streamers, and I'll break my thread if I do that too much with this 6/0. Alright, so our tail's in. Our next step, I personally like my nymphs real heavy. I think that's more of a personal preference. And I know some of you may be saying, but wait, what about when you want them to look supernatural? Well, I just work around it, try and tie a few without weight if I really need to. But I'm kind of impatient in the way that I want my fly down in the strike zone just about as quick as possible. Anyways, thin wire, I think this was 26 gauge. I'm sorry, I don't have the package on me. This is the same stuff I used for the Clouser minnow for all of my day ones. We're actually going to tie this all the way in from right behind that head. We're just going to follow the top of the hook shank here because we want it all to be uniform. We don't want to have to play with too many factors when we're going to add in that taper. Okay, so that's in. We're going to move that off to one side. Now what we're going to do, we're actually going to use hare's mask. That's a shocker that I actually have the materials that are called for here. We've got a hare's mask, and this is I got a lot of this info from Kelly Gallup's tutorials. He's got a lot of good stuff. But what I'm doing, sorry you guys can't see that at all. what I'm doing is I'm just kind of pinching and pulling out some of these fibers down at the cheek. You can do your own custom blend, you know, grab some from up here. I don't know, I guess I just kind of like the softer stuff. So I'm just going to set that aside for a quick minute while I find my wax. Here it is. And we're actually going to wax a thread. I'm going to put that in the material clip though, that's kind of getting on my nerves. Wax a thread just so our dubbing is going to stick here a little bit better. Just going to pick it a little bit, make sure there's no unwanted bits in there. And we're just going to swirl this around the thread here. We're going to make a noodle. This is probably a bit much, to be honest. Yeah, that's way too much. We're going to save some of this for later, folks. Nothing wrong with improvising as you go. And you can always add on materials, keep that in mind too. So we're looking for a tapered noodle. Well, I never figured I'd hear myself say that sentence. It's just going to be easier that way because we'll have an easier go of building a taper onto the actual fly if the thread taper itself, or the fly taper itself, is actually tapered. So you can see I'm about 2/3 of the way up. You can see we're already getting some guard hairs away from us here. So this is why I love my wolf vise, although any rotary vise really would be a benefit. But now what I'm going to do is I'm going to just walk this up real slow, make this guy nice and even as I head up there. And we're gonna tie this guy down. Oh, sorry. We should do that so where you guys can see it. I'm actually gonna just pull a couple of these longer fibers out. Right, one of the bonuses of the Hare's mask is that you can pick and choose what you want in there. When you pick those thicker guard hairs, you get a real buggy looking action. And actually what I'm going to do, I'm going to trim this up just a smidge, just for the sake of the taper, if you guys know what I'm saying. Wow, my scissors are not cooperating. There we go. Well, just blew my dubbing into oblivion. That's okay. We're just gonna grab some more. But first, actually, what we're gonna do is, you know, I'm feeling fancy. Instead of using some more pheasant tail, which you obviously, if that's your preference, go for it. Either will work here, but I'm going to use peacock. I'm going to use, let's see, how many strands is this? I don't know if you guys can see that. It's about half a dozen. 2, 3, yeah. That would be 6 strands. I'm going to clip them all even down at one end, so we'll have an easier go of tying them in. There we are. Key to doing these guys is making sure that they stay on top of the hook shank. It's especially interesting with these offset hooks. right, to make sure it's truly on top and in line with the hook. It takes a couple ties to get used to, or I mean at least it did for me, but you get used to it. Oh yeah, that's why we wow, took a little bit extra off. So what I'm doing right now, I'm just grabbing some more dubbing. We're gonna grab a little bit more of these shorter guard hairs from the eyebrow area. Blend those back up. Put that aside for a minute. We're going to re-wax our thread and not let that blow away with my fan. That's really a bad idea. I should fix that. Should not have my fan going while doing tying videos. However, we'll survive. So we made a little bit too much. You can use those if you're tying more than one, or the extras, that is. And we've got just a little clump here. Once again, we're gonna noodle this on. We're working on it. Here we go. I'm just going to slide that back just a little bit, just so I can give myself a wrap to get it back. You may have put too much on here still, but it's okay. Oh, another thing with these Flyman caddis heads, you want to make sure that they are on in, or not upside down, if you know what I'm saying. Right, one end is slightly pointier than the other, and they have a really great diagram on the back saying, you know, hey, don't put this bad boy on upside down or backwards. So if you guys are familiar with those, you'll know what I'm saying. Anyways, we tied that in. If I can find my bobkin, I can use it as a makeshift pointer. There it is. You can see we've got a nice taper, at least from my angle. Let's see what you guys are seeing. Yeah, we've got a pretty nice taper over here. So now what we're gonna do, we're just gonna come through and wrap down our excess. Peacock. We're gonna clip those short. So yeah, as you can see, this is a pretty hefty, pretty heavy fly, and it's got a pretty serious taper on it. When I was just getting into this, I always struggled with not tapering it enough. Or something you gotta work at just a little bit. I mean, at least again in my case. But I mean, after we tied this off, clip it, grab your head cement of choice, just touch it up. I'm just trying not to use too much so I don't mess up my body at all. And for those of you who use UV resin, from what I understand, that'd be a fantastic product to use right here, just to keep those peacock herl just locked down in there and give it a nice shine. But otherwise, that is my Hare's ear caddis, Hare's ear nymph, whatever you want to call it. Please leave any questions in the comments. I appreciate you guys watching.